Vela, vamos, Vela, patea, 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 puta madre, Herrera, gol, vamos, vamos, México. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today we're going to have another FIFA 18 World Cup mode experiment. Today we'll be trying to break Mexico's 5th game curse. I think they haven't gone through to the quarterfinals in I think like 40 years. Their last appearance in a quarterfinals was in the 78th World Cup. So 40 years they haven't been able to go to a quarterfinal. So we're going to try and finally break that curse. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop us a like and also leave us a subscribe for more World Cup content and more experiments in FIFA 18 just like this one. But for now, let's go ahead and take Mexico to the place that they deserve to be. So as you may have known already, Mexico are located in Group F. They're facing Germany, Sweden, and South Korea. For most people, this is the group of death, including myself. So I gotta say that this is a very, very difficult challenge, but I think that we can do it. The main thing is that to get to the quarterfinals, we most likely need an easy draw in the round of 16. For this to happen, we need to try and beat Germany to that one spot, to that first spot in the group. That's how we're gonna go through, either by goal difference or just by points. We need to go and beat Germany in this first game to get that first position. So here we are in the very first match of the group stages against Germany. I gotta say that this match was very, very hard, but most of all it was fun. It was entertaining to watch, something which I think will be recreated IRL. I do think this match is going to go in the favor of Germany, but do not get surprised if Mexico actually performs really, really good as we did in this game. I gotta say that the main thing for Mexico here, both in game and in real life, is that they do not need to feel themselves as less of Germany, because they're here in the second spot. If they compare themselves to other second spots basically in the World Cup, they're comparing themselves to people like Spain. They're comparing themselves to people like who else? Like Colombia. They're competing against very, very tough teams. So Mexico must not feel like a lesser team against Germany. Well, I think that that's their main strategy. Everything for Mexico is up here in the head. When I just opened up this game, I was like, wow, they actually have pretty good talents in every single position. Probably the worst place where they have is in the defense, but midfield, they're stacked, they're really good, and up forward, they have amazing talent. They may not have world-class players here and there, but the whole squad is decent. It's very, very decent. I gotta say that in this match we suffered a lot with the very fast long balls, because like I said, the Mexico defense is where they have a lot of problems. Timo Werner was just so fast, and the cutting pass from, I don't remember who was it, but their assist was so good, the pass was just so far out, and Timo Werner, with the pace and strength that he has, was very easy for him to get the first goal for Germany. But after that, like I said, it's every round in the head. We need to get back into the game and quickly change our mentality, because we are not less than Germany. So just as I say that, we create a very, very good play, a 1-2-3 with our front players up top, all initiated by Carlos Vela and finished by Carlos Vela. Carlos Vela is a player who for many people were in doubt, because he actually went to Los Angeles FC, I think it was, LAFC in MLS, and some people really didn't think that he was going to get back into form good enough for this match, for this World Cup. But I gotta say that playing a lot of games, it's what we need. It's what every single player needs in the world. And I think that Carlos Vela is going to go great into the World Cup. I think he's going to have an amazing World Cup with Mexico. But also, more importantly, he scored this goal to tie up the game 1-1. So mostly at the end of the game, Germany scored once again. It was probably going to happen, because Germany are not going to sit back. They're Germany. They're not going to give up. So after that, I just realized that we needed to attack really, really fast. We needed to try and get into those gaps, because there were gaps. Let's remember that they play with Kimmich at right back, which is not the fastest, and the same with Hector for the left. So I really try to pressure as much as possible. I introduced Rodolfo Pizarro, which is a player I really, really like from FIFA in career mode. He's such a good player, but IRL, I've watched some highlights of him. I don't think he's going to the World Cup, but he's such an energetic player. So I put him in, I put Eric Gutierrez, and then I just put Corona into the lineup, and we just went fast all in. And to be honest, we pressured Germany really, really tough. And like I said before, we made the mistakes. We made them make mistakes, and at the end of the day, we gotta seal the deal. We gotta go back but we could have won it. We could have won the match because we had that final error from, I think it was Boateng, and then we just go into the counter-attack and I just completely scuffed it with Corona. I should have just shot into the back of the net, but I was too nervous at that moment. I just had the motions, really. I just had the feels. But I gotta say that if we would have taken that chance, Mexico, sorry, would have won this match and get the 3 points against Germany. But unfortunately, we just go out with a draw. So after this, we move onwards to South Korea, and I gotta say that this match was make or break, basically, because we needed to get these 3 points right ahead, and Germany were in the same situation because Sweden had already beat South Korea 3-1, I think it was. So we needed to get those 3 points. I gotta say that my thinking behind this match was just go all out attack, basically play a 4-3-3, try to be as energetic as possible and try to beat South Korea at basically their game, because let's remember the South Korean players, they got a decent squad, but from the middle up, their defense is not too well known. So I was feeling confident of myself because I knew that our defense was good enough to withstand the counterattacks of South Korea that could happen, especially if we take into account like Heung-min Son is the leading player. But I thought we could handle it, so I decided to go with a 4-3-3 and added some creative midfielders into the mix. So I put on Jonathan Dos Santos, the ex-Barcelona and Villarreal player, currently at LAFC as well, I think it is, as his brother. No, at LA Galaxy, sorry. LA Galaxy, yeah. So I decided to put him in because I knew that his creativity was going to be very, very useful. And we just went in. We got the first goal in the very first few minutes of the match, and I was feeling very, very confident of myself. That made South Korea a little bit more nervous and trying to push forward a little bit more, which we just took advantage of it by scoring another goal, which was very, very good. And I was really, really impressed with our attack. If we take into account the main man up top was Raúl Jiménez, and this was a different situation to Chicharito, because I gotta say that Chicharito is a player who is a poacher. It's very, very good in the box, but with this type of play in this match, we're gonna be running and creating just 1-2 passes and scoring. So we needed that guy to withstand the defenders for a little bit of time, and I think that Chicharito, although he's a well-renowned striker, he's not as strong or as potent as a player like Raúl Jiménez. So I decided to took Raúl Jiménez as the main striker for this match, and he worked absolutely wonders. I think it was for the second goal where he actually did one play where he took away a defender from South Korea, and it was very, very nice to see. I was very happy with that. So overall, I gotta say that Raúl Jiménez is probably a very good striker. IRL, I don't know, he's played some Benfica, right? But in game, in this match against South Korea, he was the best player by far, and he really, after this game, really earned himself as my main striker in this challenge. So I took Raúl Jiménez to the next match. I gotta say, spoiler alert, he was our main striker against Sweden because he just played so good in this match. Sweden was the final game of this group stages, and I gotta say that coming to this match I was feeling very, very comfortable because we won 3-0 against South Korea, but I really forgot that Sweden had also beaten South Korea. So if we take this into account, Sweden were already in the competition. They were still in the race for a spot to progress to the knockout stages. So we must take this game seriously, and after the matches against Germany and after the matches against South Korea, I realized that we needed to change formations because Sweden was going to play a normal 4-4-2. They're very, very conservative, and they really like to play the long balls into the two strikers, Berg and Toiven, I think it's his name. I don't know how to pronounce him, but both of them are like 6'2", and their one is 6'6" or 6'4". 6'6" would be just like a skyscraper, so I don't think it's going to be 6'6". But yeah, there are two very tall strikers. So I realized that we needed to do something to combat that. We needed to do a little bit of tactics and change up formation. So I decided to play on with two strikers up top, but having one of them being a center forward and just pushing back my two CDMs as far back as I can and let our wingers do the creative play. Some of the main changes I decided to put into play was putting Salcedo as one of the two center backs instead of Diego Reyes. This is because they're going to have very tall strikers, so certainly if I want to have somebody in the box defending, is somebody with enough physicality to push them off the ball. So with that being said, Carlos Salcedo was slotted into the center back position through the right, and as their main right back I decided to go with Aguilar once again because I just realized that his pace was going to be very beneficial, because Sweden does have pace of his own. So having somebody like Aguilar who just could close spaces in a blink of an eye, especially against somebody like Sweden, which are slow, like I said, it was going to be very good. Also, I decided to put as a second striker Giovanni Dos Santos, because I think that in terms of having either Peralta or Chicharito Hernandez, or even having somebody like Fabian as a main center forward, Giovanni Dos Santos is that extra little bit more agile. He's a little bit more mobile and a little bit more just tricky. He's really good at that. So I decided to put Giovanni Dos Santos as a center forward, and then up top go once again with Raúl Jiménez, leaving Chicharito on the bench. Even though Chicharito may be the main striker for Mexico, Raúl Jiménez earned his spot, like I said before, and it was just a partnership of the dreams. To be really honest with you, I decided to taste the waters with Sweden for the very first half. I realized that just one draw was actually gonna push us through to the next stages, and that was very crucial. And that's how we got and we waited for the first goal. The first goal came from a corner kick, which was something very scrappy to Mexico standard, I gotta say. And even a goal from a center back, Diego Reyes, not with his head. So are you telling me that's not scrappy? It's very scrappy. And after that, basically, Sweden had to open up for the second half. It was very easy, was much more entertaining in the second half, because we actually had a lot more space to work with. That partnership with Giovanni Dos Santos and Raúl Jiménez worked wonders. However, Jiménez went out injured, and we actually had to put Chicharito inside as well. But I gotta say that that was a blessing in disguise, because it allowed people like Chucky Lozano for the left, and more importantly Carlos Vera for the right, to stretch out that defense and just had much more of a protagonistic role in this game. And it was very good to see, because that's how the second goal came to be. And after that, we actually scored another goal with another center back, with Carlos Salcedo, and it was 3-0 for Mexico at that point. And I thought that we were just gonna go through, but then Sweden scored 3-1, and after that I let my guard out again, and we actually conceded yet another goal. It was 3-2, and that was at the end of the game. And it just came to me out of nowhere, and I remembered that we needed to have a better goal difference than Germany. And let's remember, this is something very realistic that could happen to Mexico, because they could win against South Korea, they could win against Sweden, but at the end of the day, they need to get the goal difference if they still want to progress in the top position against Germany. And that didn't happen to us in this one, and I was getting really worried. So I just was waiting for a good draw for the round of 16, but it never came. We ended in second by 1 goal difference less than Germany, so we end up facing the top team of Group E, and that was Brazil. So yes, Mexico end up getting a very difficult draw in Brazil for the knockout stages. The contention to break that final 5th game curse was under pressure. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy coming to this match against Brazil, knowing that we're facing probably the best team in the competition. We already drew against Germany, but Brazil just have that aura around them. They're really good with the ball, they're really good attacking, and I was just very frightening. To be honest, I was trying to be as good as I could be. I decided to go with a 4-3-3 because I realized that that energetic team that we put on against South Korea and Germany was how we got the best results. I decided to follow that pattern, and I don't think that was the smartest of decisions, because at the end of the day, Brazil, they just have so much more talent in those key areas, and we were basically overrun for the majority of the game. They managed to we actually managed to score the very first goal by Carlos Vela, like you saw in the intro. It was actually from a rebound from Alisson and then Herrera with an amazing volley. We got the first goal, and I was very happy, because with 5 minutes in, we were already 1-0. But in the long run, this wasn't sustainable. The very same thing that happened in our last experiment with Italy came back to hunt us. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't a sustainable formation and strategy that we could keep up for the 90 minutes. Brazil was obviously just taking on the main stage. After that, they got 1 goal, then they got a 2-1, then they got a 3-1. Then I think we got another goal 4-2, but then they got another goal 5, and it was 5-2 at the end of the day. So we're basically never really in contention. We may have gotten the first goal, but Brazil always knew their game plan, and this is something that Mexico, I think, need to try and solve before playing out this match. I thought that perhaps afterwards, if we played a 4-2-3-1, it could have been actually a better way to confront somebody like Brazil, because Brazil is just a team who For instance, they don't do too much in the middle of the park. They actually play long balls for the fullbacks into somebody in the middle just to create an extra pivot. For instance, Paulinho or Fernandinho, or even somebody like Renato Augusto and Casemiro. But if you take a look at those midfielders, they don't have very good, they're not a passer. They're not somebody who's gonna break the lines. The people who break the lines are the fullbacks. So in that sense, I thought that perhaps playing a 4-2-3-1 could have been a better way to try and play against this Brazil team, and I just don't realize what I thought of that afterwards and not before the match. So if Mexico really want to break this 5th game curse, basically what we learned from this video, this experiment, is that they need to try, first of all, and try to finish top of the group, because the group E is quite easy, to be honest. For a team like Brazil facing Switzerland, Costa Rica and Serbia, that's really easy for Brazil. Eso es pan comido. It's really easy for Brazil. So they need to try and finish top of their group, which is very difficult because, like I said, and for many people, they're playing the group of death. But that's the best way for them, because if they finish top, they could face somebody like Switzerland, Costa Rica and Serbia once again, which are teams which are not easy but are very accessible if they want to progress to the quarterfinals. It's not gonna be an easy feat because, like I said, their best option is to try and draw against Germany like we did in this game, but at the end of the day, the goal difference could come back and haunt you. So they need to be worried about that. They need to be worried about keeping their whole team in contention, keeping them very organized for the throughout entirety of 270 minutes. So I'm meaning like the 3 group stage matches. And if Mexico after that, for instance, they get a bad luck and they face Brazil in the upcoming round, the best way they can do to finish out in the 4th position is basically, once again, keep organized and stay focused, because playing against Brazil is not gonna be easy, and you're definitely gonna need a little bit of luck to try and push Brazil to the max. I think that Mexico, the best way they could do is trying to push it forward to 180 minutes or something like that, because after that, Brazil, they're not a team which known for their stamina. Brazil are like a lion. They want to go hunt and kill. They don't like to wait for their prey. So if we take that into account, I think that Mexico could use that for their advantage and try to push the game for 180 minutes. And if that happens, I think that Mexico could go through to the quarterfinals. But overall, I gotta say it's very difficult for Mexico to progress to the quarterfinals this World Cup. I almost say this Champions League, but this World Cup is going to be very difficult. But hopefully they can do it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it in this experiment, but certainly it could be something I could try before the World Cup to see and how it works again. So hopefully we'll have another try with Mexico, but for now, I gotta say that this is another experiment which wasn't successful.